made it to Iowa. We've got the weekend here. We got 10 cool places we're going to go visit. And the first one is the Iowa State Capitol. Now, the Iowa State Capitol is the only state capitol that has more than 4 domes. It has 5 domes. I don't know if there's one that has 4 domes, but this is the only one with 5 in it. The dome is actually gold plated, the main one. And in 1999, at the cost of almost $500,000, it was redone. Now, in order to get an 8.5 by 11 sheet of normal paper width of gold leaf, there's 23 karat gold leaf, it took over 1,000 sheets of gold leaf to get to the thickness of an 8.5 by 11 sheet of normal paper. So it took them quite a while to do that. It's supposed to last about 30 years. It has been done 5 times since this building has been erected. Let's go check out the Capitol. Iowa became the 29th state in 1846. Its capital is the one of 2 that have the 5 domes to it, and there's a huge public library here as well. So Iowa is actually double landlocked, and it is surrounded by 6 states. When you come in here, they have a wall that's honoring the Iowa soldiers, sailors, Marines, and airmen that have passed away in combat. And there's a huge replica of the USS Iowa. My daughter pointed out to me that up here, if you look, I'll show you here in a second, they have all 12 of the zodiacs right there. So you got all 12 of them all the way around. Originally started as a territorial library in 1863. Once the state became a state, it became the state library. And there's over 100,000 books in here. It's a Victorian style library with spiral staircases on both ends. So in this glass container, they have a book that was printed by Benjamin Franklin. They have the smallest book, the oldest book in the library as well. So I'm going to show you what it looks like. But it's pretty cool to be in front of something that Benjamin Franklin personally printed. The oldest book in this library was printed in 1539, and the smallest book in this library was printed in 1627. Now, the big book in here, it's a 14th century hand-lettered book that was copied before the time of the printing press. It was written in Latin, or is written in Latin, and it's made out of calf skin or sheepskin. Originally, every small church and every hamlet in Europe owned books like this. And then this book was purchased in Florence, Italy in 1921 and later sold to the state of Iowa. So in 1855, it became practice that in every book that's here in this library, on the 13th page of each volume is written that it's part of the Law Library of Iowa. So you can't go into the Senate chambers unless you're with a tour guide. And we were looking through the window, and a guy came up behind us and was like, "Hey, you want to go in there?" And I was like, "Can we?" He's like, "If you're with me, you can." We'll come to find out he's a senator. And he gave us like a little tour, talked about the Senate a little bit. And then he took us over to the House and took a picture of us sitting in the Speaker of the House's chair. That's really cool. So it's Senator Isaiah Knox. So I appreciate you, sir. If you're watching this, thank you for your opportunity, your time, because he had another tour he had to do, and he took his time to talk to us when he had a tour to do. So that was really cool. Thank you very much. Back in the early 1900s, they were putting electricity in here. And in that corner right there started a fire. They were running electricity through, and the electrician, he started a fire. This whole area here got destroyed, but it was slow moving, so they were able to move the desks out of the way before everything fell from the ceiling. So that was pretty cool. After the fire, they obviously needed a new ceiling. So you see all these lights right here? They're the first electric lights in this Capitol, and each one of them weighs 800 pounds. And there's 5 of them in here. Sorry, can't math. There's 4 of them in here. See all these columns behind me? It's actually brick, and they have a product called Scagliola that's put over it to give it a marble appearance. But it's made out of gypsum and some other material, and it's smoothed out, and it looks just like marble, but it weighs a fraction of the total weight. So all this marble that you see in here, it's actually Scagliola. Now the marble that you see down here at the bases, that's all marble, but all the decorative columns are all Scagliola. So if you see all these statues that are up here, they go all the way around. That's all the first art in this building. Now, you would think that they're gold leafs, but they're not. They're actually made out of plaster. Then they have aluminum leaf over them, and then they were spray painted gold. This painting behind me is called Westward. It was completed in the early 1900s, 1905, and it was done in New York and shipped out here. Now, if you see, I don't know if you can see it from here, there's little black pegs that are along the walls. That's actually gas pipes, because before, when this building was built, they had gas, but they didn't have electricity. Capitol, and you see any of these ports out here, those used to be gas fixtures for lighting. So, granite, no, it's Scagliola. And even all the, I'm going to flip it around, but all of the columns up in the dome, Scagliola. All around this upper level and down even on the first level, you're going to see a lot of tile. It is the original tile from when this building was originally built in the mid 1800s. I think it finished in 1864, 1865 is about the time frame that it was finished. Back when Iowa was becoming a state, it was a territory, and it covered a lot of Illinois, Wisconsin, went all the way up to Minnesota. Actually, it was very big, and then they shrunk it down to what it is now. And the capital used to be in Iowa City. Then, as everybody started moving westward, a lot of the population moved westward as well. So they ended up moving the capital westward and to here in Des Moines. Now, this Capitol is actually the 3rd Capitol building that they've had. The original Capitol building here was used while it was still a territory, and then they built this one as it became a state, and then eventually it transitioned to being over here in this Capitol building. We are in the Whisper Gallery. Now you see this little hallway behind me? There's some of them all the way around. If you stand in one of them and you have somebody else standing in another and you keep going, it will keep a whisper going all the way around, which is awesome. And then you get a great view of the gallery up and down. And then if you look, you see these little pipes right here? That's from when they had the gas lanterns up there. So that's pretty cool. They had them up here too. So if you have a chance to come up, it's 91 stairs, so not too bad. These 2 statues right here were given to Iowa from Illinois. They were going to be in the Illinois state capitol, but when they received them, they thought they were a little bit too provocative. So they're like, well, they're not good enough for us, so we'll give them to Iowa. So Iowa took them. Well, last year, our tour guide came in and he saw people with lasers and stuff set up on here on the statues, and he asked what they were doing, and they were coming in here to be able to make a digital version of this so they could reproduce them and put them in the Illinois state capitol. So now I guess they're not as provocative as they were when they brought out here. So I guess times change, right? Now, to commemorate women's suffrage, they have this plaque right here for memorializing that. And since we're so close to November, I think it's fitting to make sure we put it into this video because it's almost election time. And because of these ladies, women have the right to vote. I don't know about you, but I find some dolls kind of creepy. But here in Iowa, they have a doll memorial. And they do a doll for every governor's wife. Well, the governor that's here now is the first female governor, so they did a doll for the husband. So check this out. So behind me, above the dolls, is a memorial picture. It was actually taken in front of the Capitol from the soldiers returned from World War I. There's two items that are different than the picture. One, the Iowa state flag. The colors are backwards, like it was black and white, and they transitioned it to color. And the artist that did that, they got the colors flip-flopped. And then there is a banner that had how many soldiers from Iowa were killed in World War I. But then on here, they blacked it out because soldiers were still dying from wounds and injuries, and they didn't feel it was right to not include them in that total. Well, that concludes our time here in the Iowa State Capitol. If you're in Des Moines, I really recommend that you come here. Take the tour. It's free. You can walk around on your own. It's free. But this is beautiful. This is probably the most beautiful state capitol I've ever been to. And I'm going to go out and say it. I think it's more beautiful than our Capitol in DC.